Here is another from the Imperial Assault that just recently came out. There's one of the add-on packs. This is, of course, Han Solo, and he is dressed in his traditional New Hope garb. This is the white shirt with the black over waistcoat, and it seems to depend. Some images the pants look black, some they look dark blue, so there's a bit of a choice there. But this is the standard New Hope get up. It's not the Cloud City one. I am hoping they'll do the Cloud City one, that with the dark blue coat that he had. Detail is not bad. I think for the price and for what they are, these are acceptable. But acceptable is the word, not great. Because I do think that companies like Corvus Belli with Infinity is definitely beating them on detail by a long shot. And on one hand, this was a game piece, so I wasn't too worried originally. So yeah, it's a game piece, right? It's just meant to be a game piece. So if everything's not 100% spot on, it's okay. But then, so's Infinity. So's some of Games Workshop. You know, there's a lot of really good game pieces out there. So while that sounds negative, though, they're not bad, really. They're fun to paint, and they are releasing some cool ideas and cool figures. So I think you just have to take them for what they are. Things like the gun is a little bit blocky. It doesn't have quite the detail it should, but like the holster's not bad. And his coat's quite good with the creases, and the belt's got a decent amount of detail. I mean, they're not terrible, and they do paint up nice, but they just don't hit that extra mile. The detail is a little soft, is probably the best way to describe it. But they're not terrible, and they are fun to paint, and they're readily available. So, you know, try to look on the bright side rather than the dark side, and have fun with them. I'm going to be working on this guy soon. I've got a little bit of work to go still on the other dudes. I've been mucking around with them with a couple of ideas. I'll show them in just a second. But I would recommend picking them up if you're a fan of Star Wars and you want to paint, you know, these sort of miniatures and that. Just don't expect them to be up to quite the standard of something like the Infinity game. You know, if you can avoid that, you'll have a lot of fun with these, and they're great to have on yourself. I mean, if you're a lover of Star Wars, I mean, they're releasing Sand Troopers and Stormtroopers and Boba Fett, and then they've got some original figures, and so there's a lot of stuff here to be happy about. So I think it's important just to look on the good stuff rather than the bad, but I'm hoping as time goes on they might just improve some of the detail to be a bit more in line with some of the other companies that are also doing game pieces. And this guy retail was around $12, and he comes of course with cards and that for the game. I don't think I'll be using them, and I might swap his base out to give him a bit more detail, a bit more excitement with the base rather than just the standard round one. Just be careful if you cut the bases off, just be careful of the legs. These are a decent resin, you know, they're reasonably hard and that, but just be careful. Resin has a tendency to want to be brittle, and just be careful when you're doing it so you don't snap the legs or something like that. They will glue back on, but you know, anytime you can avoid a snap and that, it's always good to do. But there's Han Solo, captain of the Millennium Falcon. So here's the two guys I'm working on. This is the second one actually. Doing different coloured coats and adding some camo to his pants. Not finished yet. He's also got a bit of a gloss. I would rather him have a bit of a matte finish, so that'll be the end. But again, the detail in some areas is a little bit soft, but his mouth is quite good, like his face. The grenades is good, the coat's good, the backpack is excellent. There's a bit you can do. I've been adding multiple washes. I've been spending more time on the backpack. That's sort of far closer to being done than anything else. in the pants I've been working on doing some camo. These are the Rebel Saboteurs. The guns on this one are a little bit soft. That's another one, the detail is soft on the guns. And the other guy is a bit further along. Not finished though, again, I've got a lot of smoothing still. At this stage there's a lot of smoothing, trying to get all the colours to blend nicely. So he's got the green coat, white shirt, more olive pants, brown boots. And this one's going to be my character in the Star Wars RPG. I made a Duros pilot, but they do a lot of ground stuff in the game, so this is going to be my representation in the game. I'm going to do him. He's been fun to paint, and I primed him with Games Workshop, and the paint has stuck very well. There was some concern people had originally that would this resin actually take paint, and they do quite well. Give them a wash. If you're going to paint them, give them a wash, warm soapy water, not hot, and dry them completely, just in because with these sort of ones you often get the residue from the molding process, and paint will just slide right off that. So give them a wash, give them a clean. There is, on all these figures, including Han Solo, usually a whopping great mold line. That's something I wish that they would get rid of, but it's been on all three figures I've seen from this range. So you have to do some cutting and sanding. It's usually right down over the head and right down the side of the body as the two halves are pushed together. So make sure you do that, because if you leave that there, it just doesn't look right when you finish painting it, and it will always bug you. So a little bit of sanding. Take your hobby knife. Some of it's quite on Han. The mold line was quite prominent, and I had to do some pretty serious cutting and then sanding. But he turned out okay. It just takes a bit of work. It's not difficult, and it's not going to ruin your figure. It just takes some time to get that sorted out. So I highly recommend give him a wash, then a good clean up, get rid of all that stuff ready for paint, and you can prime them with basically any of the primers that are out there. I found the Games Workshop spray works very well for that, so I used white. I used the white primer. You could use black if you want to do the darker colours and that, but either one of them work. And the Testers primer, which you can get here in Canada and the US at Michael's, as well as most of the model shops. It also works very well. So there you go. I'm going to get back to these. There will be a reveal of these guys as soon as they're done, and of Han I will be starting soon as well. May the Force be with you.